I don't want to see your face at her graduation, my mom snapped during a choppy family Zoom call. And if you show up, don't expect another cent from me. I didn't say much. Just gave a little nod and, without missing a beat, started quietly canceling the tuition payments and every single credit card they'd been using behind my back. Chloe walked the stage that June. And me? I walked away for good. Don't even think about showing up, my mom said again, her voice cutting through the grainy Zoom audio like a blade. It's not about you. This is Chloe's day. I just sat there, stunned, coffee cooling in my hand like I'd forgotten how to drink it. My laptop wobbled on the edge of the kitchen counter, and behind me, golden morning sunlight filtered through the blinds. It should have felt warm, comforting even. But everything around me felt like ice. Chloe didn't say a word. Just sat there in her little Zoom window, smirking like she'd won something. She didn't need to say anything. That smug little look said it all, I wasn't wanted. Again. I scanned the screen faces of my parents, aunts, cousins. Even Uncle Mark was there, and he usually only logs on if someone mentions food. No one said a thing. Nobody spoke up for me. Not even a blink of discomfort. So, that's it? I finally asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Don't start, my mom snapped. We're not making this into a thing. Chloe's graduating college. It's a happy occasion. Not whatever this is. Whatever this is. Right. The thing where I bankroll everyone's life and somehow still end up being the villain. For 4 years, I paid for Chloe's college. Every semester. I opened the 529 plan. I covered the fees. Bought the books. Even paid for that overpriced off-campus apartment when she decided the dorms were too depressing. My parents? They clapped when she got the scholarship, but when it only covered half, they didn't chip in another cent. Guess who picked up the rest? But now I was a problem. An inconvenience. A source of tension, as Chloe put it last week in a group text after I suggested she maybe call me once a month to say thank you. I exhaled. My hands were already moving across the keyboard. Bank login. Tuition plan. Cancel autopay. Done. Oh, I said, acting like it wasn't a big deal. If that's really how you all feel, then yeah, you're never seeing my money again. Mom narrowed her eyes like she didn't believe me. I mean it, I added. Credit cards. Tuition. Grocery money. All of it gone. You're grown-ups, right? Time to act like it. Then, before anyone could respond, I clicked leave meeting. My phone lit up 5 seconds later. First, a message from Dad, don't do anything stupid. She's your sister. Then one from Chloe, thanks for making everything about you. Again. I silenced my phone, stood up, and poured the cold coffee into the sink. My hand? Steady. For the first time in years, it didn't shake. Chloe walked that stage, cap, gown, big grin, photos everywhere. I wasn't there. And for once, I didn't feel bad about it. I felt free. I wish I could say that Zoom call was the beginning of the betrayal, but the truth is it had been building for a long time. Quietly. Bit by bit. It started when I landed my first real job out of college. I was 24, fresh-faced, and lucky enough to get hired by a fintech startup. I had no idea how fast family could turn on you once they sensed you were making money. A week after the job offer, my mom called me. So proud of you, honey, she said. By the way, Chloe's tuition bill just came in. Could you help cover it? Just until we figure things out. I should have said no. But of course, I said yes. That just until we figure things out turned into 4 years of tuition, housing, books, meal plans, and emergencies, though somehow those emergencies always look like concert tickets, new Apple Watches, or last-minute trips to Miami for mental health. Chloe never once said thank you. Not once. My parents did, at first. Then, somewhere along the line, it became expected. You make more than we do, Dad would remind me. You don't even have kids, Mom chimed in one night, glass of wine in hand. And besides, Chloe's the gifted one. She's going places. You should be proud. Proud? Sure. Proud of the sister who once told me I was a boring nobody with no social life, all because I wouldn't pay for her friend's dinner. Proud of the girl who never held a single part-time job, because why should she, when I was footing the bill for everything? But I kept paying. Deep down, I kept hoping that if I gave enough, maybe one day they'd finally see me as part of the family. Turns out, I wasn't family. I was the wallet. And the worst part? They didn't even try to hide it. Like that Christmas 2 years ago. I bought Chloe a MacBook Air. She opened it, wrinkled her nose, and said, "I asked for the Pro. This one's kinda basic." Mom didn't say a thing. Dad chuckled and said, "Maybe next year." Then there was the time Mom left her phone unlocked on the kitchen table. I glanced at a message she'd sent my aunt. "He's such a control freak about money, you'd think he was Jeff Bezos. But hey, if he's dumb enough to keep paying, I'm not complaining." That text lived rent-free in my head for weeks. But the moment that really broke something inside me came on a rainy Thursday night, around midnight. A call from the bank. Fraud department. Mr. Hamilton, we're calling to confirm some unusual activity on your account card ending in 7024, the voice on the other end said. There have been several high-dollar purchases from luxury retailers, totaling around $3,700, over the past 2 days. I felt the blood drain from my face. That card was supposed to be dead. It was one I'd opened years ago and handed to my mom, just for groceries. I barely remembered it existed. Clearly, she hadn't forgotten. Neither had Chloe. Turns out, the charges were for a Cartier bracelet, some designer handbag, and a pair of Yeezys. Groceries? Yeah, right. I froze the account immediately. Called my mom the next morning, still hoping stupidly that maybe this was a misunderstanding. Her response? She laughed. Laughed. "Oh my God, you're being ridiculous," she said. "It was just a few things Chloe needed for graduation. Don't ruin the surprise." Needed? I said slowly. You mean stole. That was the first time I actually used the word out loud. And it hit the air like a punch. "You've always been so uptight," my mom snapped. "You act like we owe you something just because you write a few checks." "I didn't write a check," I said, voice shaking. "You took my card. Without permission. That's not helping. That's stealing." She hung up on me. That's when I dug deeper. Checked my other accounts. 3 credit cards. All under my name. All maxed out. All tied to my address, my social security number, my credit. And every charge? Traced back to either my mother or my sister. My own family. That night, I sat at my desk, phone in hand, thumb hovering over Chloe's contact. I didn't call. Instead, I logged into the tuition portal. 1 semester left. That's all she had to go. I canceled the payment. Just like that. And you know what? I didn't feel guilty. Not even a little. All I felt was empty. Like something in me had finally, quietly died. The next morning, the email came in. Subject line, urgent, payment declined from the bursar's office. Then the texts from Chloe rolled in. Hey. Did the payment not go through? Are you messing with my account? Mom said you're being a baby. Just fix it. Just fix it. That was always my job, wasn't it? I was the fixer. The guy working 60-hour weeks so Chloe could strut around campus in Chanel, barely attending class. The same guy who mysteriously kept my parents' mortgage paid even though their retirement checks didn't cover half of it. But not anymore. Not after they stole from me. Not after I caught a glimpse of the group chat where Chloe called me the family's sad little cash cow. And definitely not after my mom called me again, demanding I reactivate the tuition plan, because, in her words, this is not the time for one of your moods. I stayed calm. You told me not to come to graduation, I said. So I won't. And neither will my money. Then I hung up. I braced myself for fireworks. Screaming. Some dramatic display. But all I got was silence. And I understood why, because they thought I was bluffing. They always thought I was bluffing. But not this time. 3 weeks later, my mom sent out a Zoom invite. Subject line, urgent family discussion. Which, in our family, meant one of two things: either someone had died, or I was about to get jumped. Guess which one it was? I almost skipped it. But some sick part of me wanted to look them in the eyes one last time. See what excuse they'd come up with next. So I joined. And there they were. The usual lineup. Chloe in her pink hoodie, makeup flawless, pout perfectly in place like it was a photo shoot. Mom, lounging in her silk robe with a coffee mug, looking like she was at some upscale brunch. Dad barely engaged, eyes glued to his phone, mic on mute like always. You need to fix this, Mom started, skipping right over any kind of greeting. Sorry, I said, pretending I didn't understand. Fix what, exactly? Her graduation is in 2 weeks, she said, like it was news. She's walking that stage, and if you're not there, it'll be a disgrace. I blinked. You told me not to come, I reminded her. I was upset, she said. Heat of the moment. No, Chloe jumped in. I said it. And I meant it. I don't want you there. There it was. But then she added, I still need the last tuition payment. For my capstone. They said I can't walk if the balance isn't cleared. I leaned back, staring at them like they were characters in a twisted sitcom. So you don't want me around, I said. But you do want my money? Chloe crossed her arms. This isn't about you. It's about me finishing school. You mean the school I paid for? I shot back. Every semester. Every book. Every apartment. Every Uber. Every overpriced acai bowl. Don't be so dramatic, Mom said. Dramatic? I repeated, voice sharp. You stole from me. You both did. Used my cards. Maxed out my accounts. Behind my back. You told me I didn't belong. And now you want to hit reset and play happy family again? Dad finally looked up, like he just realized I was serious. Let's not blow this out of proportion. I laughed. Bitter and loud. No, this is proportionate, I said. And I'm about to make sure of it. I opened a folder on my desktop labeled receipts and shared my screen. Dozens of screenshots. Bank statements. Credit reports. Every transaction traced right back to Chloe's name. My mom's shipping address. Her Apple ID. I was gonna let it go, I said. Let you stew in the mess you made. But then you had to twist it. Flip the script. Make me out to be the bad guy. Mom went pale. Dad froze like a statue. Chloe rolled her eyes. This is so petty, she muttered. Petty? I said, slowly. No. This is theft. This is fraud. And I've already spoken to a lawyer. Oh please, Mom snapped. You wouldn't dare. I smiled. No? Then maybe this will jog your memory. I clicked on a file, audio___recording. MP3. It played aloud. A voice memo I'd accidentally recorded during a speakerphone call 2 months ago, Mom and Chloe, laughing about how long they could milk me before I got married and found a real family to pay for. When it ended, there was silence. Thick. Heavy. Telling. You recorded us? Mom whispered. You took what wasn't yours, I said. This? This is me taking it back. Why are you doing this? Chloe hissed. You always think you're better than us just because you work some stupid job and live in that depressing little apartment. You're right, I said. Calm. Cold. I do think I'm better than people who steal from their own family and call it love. Who smile to your face and mock you in private. Who drain your bank account, then cry when the well runs dry. Dad unmuted himself. That's enough, he said. You're blowing up the whole family. No. I stood up. Looked right at the camera. Eyes steady. Voice even. You blew it up. I just finally stepped back. Then I laid it out, line by line. I'm not coming to the graduation. I'm not paying the balance. I'm not covering rent. I've already canceled every credit card, removed all linked devices, shut down the family Netflix, Spotify, grocery subscription, every little thing you were quietly using under my name. Chloe's mouth opened, then snapped shut. You're bluffing, Mom said, but her voice cracked. I held up my phone. Bank says otherwise. I even reported the stolen cards. The only reason I haven't pressed charges is because I don't want to nuke Chloe's job prospects. Yet. Mom paled. Dad rubbed his temples. Chloe cried. Real tears? Fake? I didn't care. You'll regret this, Mom whispered. You'll end up alone. I already was, I said. But now at least I'm alone on my terms. And then I ended the call. Not just the Zoom. Everything. I didn't sleep that night, not out of guilt. Not out of fear. But because I couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, I felt weightless. Like I'd been carrying 3 fully grown adults on my shoulders and finally tossed them into the sea. The silence came first. 3 days. No calls. No texts. No guilt-laced apologies. Then, the storm. Day 4, a long, unhinged email from Mom. Subject line, you're being cruel. She accused me of sabotaging Chloe's future. Of humiliating the family. And, my personal favorite, of being infected by Western selfishness. Then came the texts from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. She's still your sister. It's just money, you can't take it with you. We're all disappointed in how you handled this. Funny how none of them texted when I was footing the bills. I didn't respond. I was too busy moving. Into a clean, sunlit apartment with hardwood floors, white walls, and no ghosts in the kitchen. No stolen credit cards. No fake family dinners where I got seated like an afterthought at my own table. I bought a plant. I named it Boundaries. The only message I did respond to came from an unrecognized number. Chloe, I can't believe you do this to me. I missed the deadline. I can't walk now. You ruined everything. I stared at it. Then typed. I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped funding your fantasy. Then I blocked her. 1 week later, a call came from my old university. Someone had tried to impersonate me, used an outdated signature scan to re-enable the tuition plan. They flagged it as fraud. Someone? Chloe. The form was laughably fake. When the rep told me, I laughed so hard I had to pull over. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just entitlement. It was addiction. To my money. To control. To the version of me who never said no. And that version? He was gone. A month passed. They held graduation without me. Chloe didn't walk. She sat in the audience while her classmates cheered and posed for photos. I saw the pictures. My aunt posted them on Facebook. Proud of our Chloe. She'll always be a graduate in our eyes, even if the system failed her. No, the system didn't fail her. She just couldn't scam it anymore. Then, a week later, a surprise. My dad. He showed up at my building, standing in the lobby like he was lost. "I just want to talk," he said. I let him up. He didn't sit. Just hovered by the window, hands stuffed in his pockets, eyes scanning the apartment like it might collapse. "Your mother's furious," he said. I figured. "She says you shamed us." I did what I had to do. He sighed. "It's a lot. You didn't have to go nuclear." I smiled. That was me being calm. He looked at me. Long quiet. Then he said something I never expected. "She used you," he said. "Chloe too. We let it happen." I blinked, caught off guard. "You knew?" I asked. He gave a quiet nod. I didn't want to say it out loud. But yeah, I knew. We'd slipped into a rhythm where you always took the lead, handled everything. It just made things easier that way. And now it's just quiet. He looked exhausted. "Chloe's falling apart," he said. "Your mom's pretending everything's normal." But it wasn't. He turned back to me, his eyes more desperate this time. "Come back. At least just to talk." I shook my head. I did talk. For years. Nobody ever listened. So now, they can listen to my silence instead. He sighed, muttering as he walked away, "You've changed." And he was right, I had. But the part that really caught me off guard? That came 2 months later in the most random way imaginable. I got a message on LinkedIn from someone I didn't know, a woman who introduced herself as Chloe's old college roommate. "Hey, you don't know me," it read. "But I used to live with Chloe back in school." She said she just needed to get something off her chest. Curious, I clicked it open. She wrote about the way Chloe used to talk about me, how she'd brag about maxing out my cards, laughing as she called me just a walking wallet. "It always made me sick," she wrote. "But after what you did, cutting them off, standing firm, you honestly inspired me." She told me she had just walked away from her own toxic family. "Because of your story," she said. "So thank you. For showing people like us that it's okay to leave." I read her message twice. Then I leaned back in my chair, my heart pounding. I hadn't just saved myself. I'd torched a legacy of silence and lit a path for someone else. I used to believe that being loyal meant you had to sacrifice everything. That family always came first, no matter the cost. That love meant giving until you had nothing left. Even when it hollowed you out. But not anymore. Not after everything they put me through. Not after I realized they only saw me as a bottomless ATM, valuable but disposable. Not after I saw the truth behind their eyes. To them, I wasn't a son. I wasn't a brother. I was just convenient. And now, here's what I believe. You don't owe anyone just because you share blood. If you told that to the old me, he would have panicked. The version of me who swallowed his anger like pills, hoping that maybe if he just gave a little more, they'd finally love him the way he needed. But that guy? He's gone. He disappeared the day my mother told me I wasn't invited to my own sister's graduation, then had the nerve to ask me to pay for it. He died the day I found out they'd been stealing from me. Not just my money, but my self-worth. He vanished the moment I opened up that Zoom call, looked each of them in the eye, and said a simple word they never expected to hear: no. And in his place? Someone new stood up. Someone who doesn't flinch when people label him selfish. Someone who knows the difference between helping and being exploited. Someone who's figured out that love without respect is just manipulation dressed up with a smile. Real family doesn't attach strings to affection. Real family doesn't rob you blind and call it generosity. Real family doesn't vanish when you say no, only to reappear when the handouts stop. It's been 6 months. I haven't heard from Chloe. She never graduated. She's back at home with our parents, wasting her days blaming everyone else for the mess she made. My mom sends emails sometimes, dramatic pleas like, "We're still your family," or guilt-laced lines like, we miss your help with the groceries. I don't even open them. My dad? He stayed silent. Maybe he's ashamed. Maybe he's finally tired. Or maybe, just maybe, he's realized that silence can be a boundary. They made their choice. And I made mine. These days, I walk with a calm I've never felt before. No more guilt. No more faking smiles while swallowing resentment. No more wondering if speaking up is worth the fallout. I've already survived the fallout. And I'm still here. Thriving. Just last weekend, I was at this little bookstore. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, just wandering. Then I overheard this girl, probably early 20s, talking to her friend over in the self-help section. I don't know what to do, she said. My parents say I owe them everything because they paid for college, but now they treat me like a maid. Her friend looked lost, unsure how to respond. But I knew exactly what to say. I walked over and said gently, "Hey, you don't owe anyone your peace. Especially not people who treat your silence as payment." She blinked. I gave a soft smile. "Sorry. I've been where you are. And trust me, letting people drain you doesn't prove loyalty. Sometimes saying no isn't betrayal. Sometimes it's how you become the hero in your own life." She stared at me for a moment. Then said, softly, "Thanks." I nodded and walked away. That's the part they never tell you. Breaking free from a toxic family doesn't destroy your world. It gives you the chance to build a better one. A world where love isn't transactional. Where support doesn't come with strings. Where respect flows both ways, not just when it's convenient. I'm building that world now. It's quieter. Smaller. But it's mine. And if you're reading this, if you've ever been your family's doormat, ATM, or emotional dumping ground, hear me loud and clear. You're not selfish for choosing peace. You're not cruel for walking away. You're not broken because you stopped letting them use you. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is leave. Let them call you heartless. Let them gossip. Let them stew in the silence they created. But you? You keep walking forward. Just like I did. Alone. But finally, free.